the cost of acquiescence is high, and to refuse to take a stand with Ambazonia today, especially by those same countries that in 1961 voted for our independence, is betrayal and stupidity in the face of the knowledge we have today on what price we pay if we allow bullies to dictate the direction of international politics and international relations. The same message goes to Canada and other Western countries. Cameroon has nothing to offer than death and destruction, looting, total collapse of a state that was viable. The world must stand against such tyranny and bullying and take a stand with advocates for freedom, coexistence, and recognition of international border. This is not a plea, this is a request. It is not only going to be beneficial for Ambazonia, it is going to be beneficial for the region and for external actors. What affects Ambazonia affects every other country. The pandemic has shown that the virus can emanate from anywhere in a lab, somewhere in China, wherever it came from. It's going to shut down the entire globe, because the interconnectedness of the world today must remind us of the consequences of silence in the face of atrocities anywhere. The movement of people carries with it security risk, risk of diseases, economic imbalance, and internal threats to stability. And we must bond together as a people and say no to bullies, looters, murderers, and genocides. My fellow Ambazonians, I would like you people to calculate not only the cost of resistance, but the cost of occupation. It is very important. Ambazonia has been betrayed without consequences because we fear the cost of resistance. First by the British. January 1960, Lord Petty, Minister of State of the Colonial Office, declared that the Ambazonian people were expendable. During the Anglo-Ambazonian talks in London in October 1960, Mr. Ian MacLeod, the Secretary of State for the Colonies, declared without fear that if the plebiscite vote went in favor of joining Cameroon, arrangements will have to be made for the early termination of the trusteeship. On 1st of October 1961, Mr. Hugh Fraser, the Undersecretary of State for the Colonies, informed the House of Commons that as he was speaking, the British government had already transferred Ambazonia to Aigio. We have continuously calculated the cost of resistance without calculating the cost of acquiescence. As Professor Carson Anyonge puts it, without any color of right, without any valid instrument or authorizing act, Cameroon assumed unwarranted jurisdiction over the people and territory of Ambazonia. In that process, exacting obedience. We acquiesce because we calculated the cost of resistance without calculating the cost of acquiescence. And yes, he continued. The people yielded to this obedience for the time being because of forcible occupation of the land and the maintenance therein of an administration of paramount force, which compels obedience as a matter of necessity. Every time we fight, people ask us to calculate the cost of resistance. They tell us our people are suffering. They do not calculate the cost of obedience and acquiescence to tyranny and occupation.